solving for the $3 billion solo traveler market in India. Super excited to welcome to the ACLR8 Summer 24 program, Saurav and Paromita, founders Travel Buddy. Tell us a little bit about Travel Buddy, like what are you guys building, kya bana rahe ho?
Community powered marketplace for authentic experiences and group trips. We are basically trying to solve for the solo travelers in India, a market that is slated to be around $3 billion out of the total $24 billion India travel market. And what is more exciting, Karan, is that this particular solo travelers are going to 2x by 2030.
अभी कितने होंगे इंडिया में?
Approximately around 25% of the total travel market in India, 1.7 billion trips were taken in 2023. At Travel Buddy, we use our proprietary algorithms to connect travelers and travel experience providers with each other using gender, behavior, demographic and location data. Till today on Travel Buddy, we have 4 million travelers. We have 500,000 active users. We are doing an ARR of around 2.5 crores.
आज की डेट में, like you can think of a Nykaa for beauty, you can think of a Myntra for fashion.
Yes.
Like, but you don't think anything, like you don't get anything in mind for travel.
Almost
yes.
as if you kind of read our minds because we are working on a shop section.
Yeah.
And by the way, that also happened organically where people kept asking us.
ये product मिल सकता है?
People said कि t-shirt है क्या Travel Buddy का?
merchandise, right?
Merchandise है हमारा. So they said कि we want to buy.
How do you see this scaling, right? Like over the next 2 to 3 years, if I'm asking, right? Like where do you see the community going, and then the number of experiences that are getting booked on the platform scaling?
Sky is the limit, if you ask me, because we are the product which can go global. We are an Indian product which can go global because the use case is global.
What do you think is the biggest defensibility that you have in your business that makes you stand apart, from the competition today?
Clearly, it's the community. Clearly, because I think everything else is replicable very fast. Cases where there have been let's say an irate some issue has happened where our influencers have defended us.
Yeah, in terms of growth as well, right? 4 million community, like through ASO, like those hacks in terms of digital, how to acquire those users, finding that product is also like, I think it's a big moat that you've been able to establish. And like maybe like you can share a couple of insights as well, like how do you do your ASO so well, like when you're doing community to experiences, right? So abhi like 4 million community, which is kind of doing about 500 experiences. So how do you see that scaling? Solving for the $3 billion solo traveler market in India. Ever thought of going on a unique trip or experience but not had a travel buddy? Super excited to welcome to the ACLR8 Summer 24 program, Saurav and Paromita, founders Travel Buddy. Guys, very excited about what you guys are building. Thank you for choosing ACLR8 as a partner in your growth journey. Very honored to partner with you.
Thank you so much, Karan, for having us on your show. Really excited to be one of the startups at ACLR8's first cohort.
Yeah.
And I'm truly excited for today's podcast.
Amazing.
I'm really looking forward to it for a really long time. So yes, totally go for it.
And I think, like when I started my venture, so I started with my wife, right? So like, it's like a deja vu moment. So me like doing a podcast with a couplepreneur, right? So like, because when I would do a startup, like people would tell me, why are you doing a startup with your wife? And we built quite a successful business, right? So like, and now like we have so many couplepreneurs who are like breaking the glass ceiling and like breaking barriers. So I think
I like the line couplepreneur.
Yeah. So that's what you guys are. So tell us a little bit about Travel Buddy. Like what are you guys building? Kya bana rahe ho?
Sure. So let me just tell you about Travel Buddy. Travel Buddy is a community powered marketplace for authentic experiences and group trips. We are basically trying to solve for the solo travelers in India, a market that is slated to be around $3 billion out of the total $24 billion India travel market. And what is more exciting, Karan, is that this particular solo travelers are going to 2x by 2030.
अभी कितने होंगे इंडिया में?
Approximately around 25% of the total travel market in India, 1.7 billion trips were taken in 2023.
1.7 billion trips?
Trips, duplicated. Obviously, it will not be the same people.
हाँ, मतलब, but अगर तभी duplication हटा दो तो like India की 1.45 billion की आबादी में, like so like in a way you're saying that like even if you remove the duplication, like one person is doing 1.5 trips like that way.
Right.
Yes.
And typically it's 1.3 trips. When I was at Clear Trip also, it was around one book segment was around 1.3 bookings. So
और इसमें से you're saying कि 25% of the trips are being taken by solo travelers.
Travelers.
So that number is about 300 million.
300 million.
trips a year is the market that you are going
It's
after.
a 3 billion market which is slated to become 6 billion by 2030 as per the McKinsey report.
Yeah.
And these solo travelers actually are looking for finding like-minded travel buddies so that they can, reduce their trip cost and they can travel more. Everybody wants to travel more now. They're looking to create travel groups. They're looking at booking authentic experiences and not a boring package. And most importantly, they want to share that on a social feed, all their travel journeys. And that's where Travel Buddy comes in. So Travel Buddy uses its proprietary algorithms, our own proprietary algorithms, to actually connect travelers and travel experience providers on the basis of location, interest, demographic and behavior. And then we display those personalized results on a social feed on our app and web platform. So been an interesting journey, the first 2 years marred by COVID-1 and COVID-2. And then after that, we have been able to build a strong travel community of 4 million. More on the metrics a little later.
Wow.
4 million travelers community.
Yeah.
And we have approximately more than 1,000 plus experiences curated on our experiences marketplace.
Amazing. So we'll get into the metrics, but I think एक बहुत interesting चीज़ है इसकी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि this is a very Bharat problem to solve.
Yes.
Because as you're saying, more number of travelers are taking solo trips, right? And I think you mentioned 3 things. एक तो you're helping them with group discounts, right? So you are helping them save on the cost of travel. Second, you are helping them with authentic experiences. So ये interesting है कि एक solo traveler can actually connect with a local influencer of a region.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also you are kind of helping them, travel in a group and do group experiences as well. Right. So, and all of this is community powered.
Driven. So one thing I just wanted to add, there's a big problem statement in terms of solo travelers. So what is happening, even in the biggest player, they are not, concentrating on the solo traveler because, when you're alone, the margins tend to get dip and, the cost becomes a big rise because, one a room will cost you like the same thing, but, when you are in the group, it kind of reduces. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to solve that problem by our algorithm, when they, to like, I'm a woman, I'm looking for a woman traveler, I just come together and my cost reduces. Or I'm a couple, I'm looking for a couple traveler and going to Singapore, Malaysia, my transport cost reduces. That's where we are coming into the picture. That's a very, very big market which is, waiting to be tapped on.
Most importantly, we are using technology to enable that. So we are turning around the marketplace model by bringing the community in front.
Correct.
When I was at ClearTrip during my time, the community was always at the back. You came and booked and then you became part of a forum. Now how about turning it around?
Very interesting. And I think एक और बहुत interesting change हो रहा है, right? Like जैसे जब हम छोटे थे, right? So हम लोग शायद साल में एक बार travel करते थे, हमारे parents हमें लेके जाते थे.
Right.
अब क्या हो रहा है कि like there's so much stress, work-life balance and all. People are traveling maybe once a month.
Yes,
right? So
yes, absolutely. In fact, I coined this term. I call this corporate traveler. Now, what I mean by corporate traveler is not like traveler who's doing like corporate traveling. Rather than you get stress in 3 months and you do the travel. I think that's a big market. It is not once or twice the family is traveling now. At least in one quarter, people are definitely traveling.
Correct.
And the market which we are pitching in, and then maybe twice. And sometimes they are, the time interval is 15 days. Sometimes more. They are so slow travelers.
And दूसरा जो trend I've noticed is कि because वो ज़्यादा travel कर रहे हैं, so the cost per trip is going down, right? So if you can kind of help them with group booking and help them with savings, so then it suddenly becomes like a very, very large opportunity to tap into.
Exactly. That's what we are doing right now.
I think the number of trips, so very clearly, these are all I think documented also in various publications. The number of trips have significantly increased per year. You rightly said, and in my childhood, it was going to the relative's place, by the way, which I used to absolutely hate. But later on, today, if you look at it, it's no longer 1.5 or 2 trips. Even in our analytics,
in your TG, it will be.
It is 6 to 8, and we have seen our own analytics.
6 to 8 trips a year.
Yes,
and sometimes even more, because it can be for vacations also. It doesn't always have to be for a leisure trip. It can be a vacation. You're going to a Manali or a Tirthan or somewhere and working. With a good network. So it's completely changed.
Amazing. I think we'll go deeper into the business, but I would love to know a little bit about your personal journey as well. Obviously you guys are married, right? But क्यों decide किया कि travel में कुछ करना है, right? What inspired you? Just like maybe like
So
the two of you.
being founders of Travel Buddy is actually
To being co-founders in life.
So an interesting part is she
And have two startups like as two kids.
correct absolutely. But I think it's not by default, it's more by design. And I'll tell you the story of how that happened. But maybe Parumita can, ladies first, she can talk first about herself.
Yes. You know, a Travel Buddy was always Saurav's brainchild. And it is Saurav's baby, I will say that. You know, it came to my life when COVID happened. I was always wanted to be like, corporate kind of a life. I'll just, wear nice clothes, go to the corporate, come back. So that is the kind of life
Monday
to Friday.
Yeah, have a work-life balance.
Have a work-life balance. That's the kind of thing
and
which
now
I'm
doing a podcast about your brand on a Saturday.
And now I've started working on Saturdays, which is like, I give credit to him. You have made me work on Saturdays. Good for you. But the things have happened because, Saurav is supposed to take this up and COVID happened. And because of COVID, at that time, our iOS product was also not ready. So we are not completely like, market fit that time. So Saurav decided, and we mutually decided that Saurav should continue his Facebook journey. And Facebook journey, it's a lucrative journey. It's we have 2 children. We have a huge responsibilities. We have parents. So that time I decided.
So idea Saurav ka tha, but you jumped in.
That's why I said
accidental entrepreneur.
That's why I say it's by design, not by default. So and I'm really thank my Meta seniors to take me back. So my farewell had happened when I went back.
So basically you were at Meta. फिर COVID हुआ,
so like I went back to Meta, and the farewell also happened.
By the way, yes, it was a really funny story. So Saurav called me and said, this is, a very big event is happening, a COVID is happening. I had a chat with my, immediate manager. So I think I should go back. And my reaction was I started laughing.
She started laughing. I said, you should join as a co-founder because now I am not going to be at Travel Buddy for 1 year. So that's the starting story of Travel Buddy.
And then, then I
and like from a so obviously you doing the business together, right? So and being like co-founders in life as well, right? So how easy or difficult it is for you guys to work together? Like, do you feel that you have complementary skill sets? Like you are good co-founders?
Yeah. So I think I'll tell my bit and then Parumita can tell. So I think it's not easy initially, and probably someone like you who's also worked with your wife in a startup, you will be agreeing on that. One is that the skills have to be complementary, which to the extent me and Parumita is completely that is there. Because I am more the numbers, more business, the fundraising kind of guy, and Parumita is all about community, content, growth, and all of that. So that part is there, but I think ways of working, it took a lot of time. We have had our own challenges, multiple skirmishes, all of that, but today I think we are very clear. You do this and I do this. Again, saw a lot of these already, like the husband-wife founders who have made it. They also have discussed this entire thing, and we learned from that, and we have applied it. So I'm like, I'll not enter into your thing, and if we do that also, let's do it with a time that we set and discuss it.
And one thing which in the last 3 years which we have developed is communication. I know this is a very basic of it. Everywhere you go, the good relationship always is based on communication. So whether you are a co-founders or whether you're husband wife, the communication is the thing. So yes, we do fight, but then we communicate, sometimes loudly, sometimes softly.
And I think the macro goal is very, very important. The vision and the macro goal ki karna hai. We are in the itna dur tak pahunch gaye, itna tak kar liye, itne tapasya kiye, itna sacrifice kiya. Let's work more.
So Travel Buddy, we eat, live, sleep every day. So that is
even our kids wear Travel Buddy t-shirts.
Like, I think you are future CEOs of the company.
My daughter has also come up with a thought that there should be a Travel Buddy for kids, like YouTube Kids. And she's after our life telling make me also the co-founder of Travel Buddy.
Amazing. Great. So like हम लोगों ने ये तो बात करी कि why travel is such a huge opportunity, right? But maybe like you guys and obviously you worked in the travel industry, so you have that experience as well. But कुछ ऐसा personal experiences, like if you can showcase like or share like from like your personal experience or from a customer experience which actually that you saw, which kind of elaborated कि इतनी बड़ी problem है, राइट? क्योंकि आप लोग क्या कर रहे हो, एक तो आप सेविंग्स प्रोवाइड कर रहे हो एक सोलो ट्रैवलर को, दूसरा आप ट्रस्ट और सेफ्टी दे रहे हो बाय कनेक्टिंग अ ट्रैवलर टू अ ट्रस्टेड कम्युनिटी मेंबर, राइट? एंड देन एसेंशियली यू आर ऑल्सो थर्ड आप एक्सपीरियंस भी दे रहे हो, राइट? लाइक बाय कनेक्टिंग टू अ लोकल इन्फ्लुएंसर, राइट? सो ये बहुत मैसिव प्रॉब्लम है, हमने नंबर से आइडेंटिफाई करा, बट ये कैसे आया, लाइक कैसे ये थॉट हुआ, कुछ पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस हुआ था? लाइक
this is actually one of my favorite questions. That's where the idea of Travel Buddy happened. I was at Facebook in 2016 and I planned to do a Spiti trip. And when I was doing my Spiti trip, I went to all my best friends, and all of them said, हाँ चलेंगे. So we basically talked to a travel provider. It was around 40,000 rupees for a Spiti trip for 6 people. Just 5 days before the trip, all my friends bailed out. And I'm sure all of us have faced this in our
cost
life.
of the trip क्या हो गया?
It's huge. It became like almost double.
My God. So like from 6,000 per person, you were paying about 12,000.
Absolutely. And the travel provider says, look, I cannot help you because I have my own cost. And then the second part, you said the verified part, I got connected to one Australian, one senior
from
person.
Maybe the platform itself.
No, there was no Travel Buddy that time, right? 2016.
Correct.
So I was very skeptical, can I trust them and all of that. They became my best friend after the trip. So I really had to go through a lot of hell during that period, So that's when I started thinking. The idea germinated that can there be an algorithm that connects you with like-minded people when you're looking to go to a Spiti? Because Paromita and me are totally opposite in our trip choices. She wants to go to a Goa and, sip a cocktail. I want to go to a Ladakh or
and
a
you want to like
Spiti.
travel all around and
Exactly.
have that time for 5 days.
So that's where you might be married, you might be all of that, but you don't have like-minded travel choices.
So even like आपका platform भी फिर आपने ऐसा बनाया कि like that kind of gets those things into account कि if a traveler is looking at a community. So when you say like-minded, वो ये सारे interests.
So basically when you sign up into Travel Buddy, we take all the data, the behavior, interest, gender, age, all of that, and then we put that in our database and use that in our algorithm to connect you.
My experience with Travel Buddy, I have a live experience. The product was just launched in a month. I understand the power of Travel Buddy, and that is maybe one of the reason I jumped into it. So we went to Ajmer with the entire family.
तब तक like product live हो चुका था.
Yes,
MVP
the product was
live था, but MVP था.
MVP
this
था,
is
exactly.
Pre-COVID, post-COVID.
It is pre-COVID.
Okay.
It was pre-COVID.
Like
just
2019, late 2019.
Late 2019,
late 2019 kind of a thing. So just the product was launched, but it is getting good traction that time itself. So we went to Ajmer and we were with the family. So I was a bit jittery because the children were little smaller,
Very small,
like 2 years and 4 years and all. So I was like, वहाँ पे बहुत भीड़ होगा. So that was the first thing which came to mind. So what should I do? So I just thought, let me just try Travel Buddy. It is there. So I just put up a query. Guess what? I get to meet a person who's Jan, and he connected me with a Maulvi, and that he connected me with his son, who took us and shown the entire Ajmer, मतलब Ajmer Sharif, and he was basically studying in Jamia Millia in Delhi. So it was such a beautiful experience.
And he didn't charge us anything, huh? Let me tell you this.
He's
He
a
didn't
scholar.
charge us a penny.
And हम वो मौलवी साहब के रूम में गए, उन्होंने अपना रूम दिखाया, उसने अपना जगह बताया. He shown us exactly the places.
And that
So
time
मतलब आपका जो quality of the experience था, वो next level चला गया just because of a local.
And that's where the idea for the experiences germinated. Today in Gurgaon we do the Panikot Lake experience, and Gurgaon has 7 lakes and all. This can only happen when you can have local influences of a city taking you to those experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's one of a kind business. Kudos to you guys, because there have been massive travel companies in India, obviously listed companies, but all of them have been marketplace first, like essentially booking first. And but you guys are first community.
Yes.
First get a community on board, then match them essentially, and then help them book group experiences.
Exactly.
And then essentially you have on top of it, there's a layer of experiences and influences, right? So I think very, very unique, made in India, made in Bharat, made with love.
And if I can just make one more point, Karan, here, which is just something we haven't even touched, but I'm very excited to. Imagine now if you take this to Bharat, take it to language. Right now we are still targeting.
So you're looking at vernacular as
exactly. So many times when we are getting this group trip request, people are talking to us in Punjabi, which we are sometimes our telecaller is not able to answer. Marathi, Gujarati. So you can really take that in a Bharat level when you are doing that at scale.
Got it. Yeah. So Abhi, like, what's the scale of the business? Like how many community you mentioned? I think 4 million community members, right? So while we understand the problem कि इंडिया में 300 मिलियन सोलो ट्रैवलर्स हैं, $3 बिलियन का मार्केट है, And 300 million में से travel buddy ने like in 1 year, like maybe in a couple of years post COVID, आप लोग के पास 4 million आ गए हैं. I think kudos to you because आपका नाम भी बहुत interesting है, right? Like I think you have kind of owned the category, which is very very smart. Like you're not spending on branding.
There were other travel buddy brands also on the Play Store, but thanks to the good ASO that we have done, we've kind of moved up.
No, very smart. So like, so there's a 4 million community. तो उसके बाद क्या है? Like just take us through the numbers. Like कितने people then meet travel buddies, how many people then go on group experiences?
I think that's very important because just having a 4 million community is not enough, right?
Correct.
So I think if we look at a waterfall from the 4 million community, we have 500,000 active users who are spending on an average around 11 minutes on the platform.
This is weekly active?
No, this is monthly.
Okay.
We're talking about monthly active users.
Okay.
And by the way, most important part, we do zero marketing. So all our growth is
and like
completely
what do people
organic.
discuss on? Like, is it like a chat-based platform? Like what
no,
is
so
it?
the entry point is our algorithm of Find Buddy. Everything that we'll do is find your
so that's
travel
the major use case. कि कोई आते हैं कोई solo travel कर रहा है, they want to travel.
Correct. Even the exact numbers I'll give you. The last time before coming to this show, it was 226,000 travelers have used the Find Buddy feature all time, and they have connected with people. Now, once you connect there, what Paramita has done with the tech team is immediately you can create a group. So automatically using technology, a chat group gets created.
On the Travel Buddy app itself?
Yeah, everything on the app. Okay. You create on the app. Whoever is a premium, he can be the admin of the group.
Like, is it like trusted, safe, unke number share nahi
Whoever creates the group is an admin. So they, just like WhatsApp, you have the control.
Yeah, got
and you can remove all the people. Once the group has got created, you then get connected to the popular groups, deals and experiences. So it's like a waterfall, right?
Yeah.
And out of that, I can tell you that...
so 4 million का वो था, जिसमें से 500,000 monthly active,
226.
This is over what period of time?
This is over a period of the last 1.5 years.
Okay, so like, would you have this data on a
post-COVID basically?
वैसे on a monthly basis होगा कि like कितने number of people connect कर रहे होंगे?
Yeah, so absolutely. In a every month basis, we have more than 3,500 to 4,000 meetups, experiences. So we have three things. We have icebreakers, we have day experiences, we have multi-day experiences or group trips. We have more than 3,500 such events, icebreakers, experiences.
And like
all happening.
ये app में ही हो रहा है, like within the app, like people are creating
primarily 90. So actually, India, I realized after doing this how app heavy India is. I mean, we have a website, but it's less than 10%.
Got it.
It's all app actually,
so
and it's Android.
Got it.
Primarily.
So 3,500-4,000 like on a monthly basis over lifetime 226,000 हो गया.
Yes.
और उसके ऊपर से फिर
and then we have a 26% conversion from the find to people coming to our experiences marketplace.
Got it.
From that 26%, currently we have a 2.5% conversion to actual bookings.
Okay.
Which is happening with zero marketing.
Got it.
We just realized that use the power of the community.
Got it.
What we are also smartly doing is we have our banners and group trips running on the community itself, on the feed. And from there, when you click, you reach up. So it's like a plug between the community and the
So eventually, how many people then book an experience?
We have had more than... So we started the marketplace. That was always the plan to start it post-COVID. We started the marketplace in July 2023. We have had more than 2,000 plus experiences booked on our platform.
Got it.
And that's happened at an AOV of currently around, I think, 7,500 rupees.
Okay. For the entire group experience?
For all the group experiences, absolutely.
And like normally
average AOV is 3,500.
And in a normal group experience, how many people are there?
Typically between 4 to, I think you'll be able to tell better, right?
It can vary from 4 to 15. It can
actually sometimes even more. So Gandikota trip that we did,
that 30,
again it depends upon the price.
But like my question was, on an average, एक traveler कितना spend कर रहा है group experience trip पे?
Approx. The sweet spot is approximately 2,000 to 3,500.
Okay.
That is. So again, that's by the way, because I'm a travel guy, that's very representative of the ARR in a hotel.
Got it.
Hotel room. So typically, even when you are... So Gandikota is the largest experience we have done till now, the Andhra Pradesh Grand Canyon. And there we had approximately 65 people join. The price of the trip was 1,999. So it is really a sweet spot when we do a lot of scuba at Netrani, which is near Gokarna, and that's again around 2,500 to 3,000. So I think that's the sweet spot in experience.
But then, we are diversified. For example, we are also, targeting the bikers, which is like, now that the market is open for Ladakh and Spiti, so we are doing that. I believe that will also, we are tapping that market as well, and we are getting good response there.
Again, the margins are higher in those. For example, we have a DMC in Thailand now, with whom we are working.
DMC क्या होता है?
Destination Management Company.
Okay.
It is basically a supplier or that you work with.
Got it.
And there are a lot of golf events that happen in Thailand now. which a lot of people want to also go. So even those luxury trips are there. However, I think we don't want to do too many things.
Got it.
Right now, our goal is the solo travelers.
Yeah.
So we have, like for example, a 12,500 trip to Thailand minus flights. So price is equally important, so that you can match a DPOLs or somebody.
Got it. So, so obviously we can understand the community to the number of trips. Like in the last 9 months, you've done about 2,000 kind of trips. And like the average person is spending about 2,500 to 3,000 rupees. How do you see this scaling, right? Like over the next 2 to 3 years, if I'm asking, right? Like where do you see the community going, and then the number of experiences that are getting booked on the platform scaling?
Maybe you can tell, and I'll tell a part of the numbers a little bit.
I believe the sky is the limit, if you ask me, because we are the product which can go global. We are an Indian product which can go global because the use case is global. A person who's sitting in New York wanted to have a buddy in New York. A person who's sitting in New Delhi wants to have a buddy in New Delhi. So our the upper funnel is pretty big. And being said so, yes, today we are sitting in certain number. The way we want to grow is first definitely the organic way, ASO and SEO. Then definitely our community part of it. We want to excel. So we have a very exclusive program which is not there in the market yet, are called local influencers. See, local influencer, one aspect of local influencer are they are giving local advice, but the another aspect which is very important, they are also doing these meetups, these community icebreaking sessions. So that they are also bringing in more people. And the third is the partnership, where we are the service provider. We are partnering with the service provider. So their market is also coming and joining the travel buddy. So that is how we want to scale up to 100 crore, 500 crore,
If I can just give a number perspective of it, that's how, that's our goals also. If you look at the $3 billion market, and if we continue with our 2% kind of conversion rate, then we are talking about a 500 crore market that you can build within the next, 3 years.
And that is only in India.
And this will be across how many trips? Like how many trips on a monthly basis are you looking at?
It will exponentially grow, right? Because right now, see, without any kind of marketing, we are doing this number of 250 to 300 trips that we are talking, or 500 trips in December. So it will exponentially grow, and more important, if the market is going to go 2x, that's the number of solo travelers, then you're talking not a 500 crore but a 1,000 crore business. I totally agree with Paromita that right now I kept saying India, solo travelers India, because obviously the Western market is really evolved in terms of solo travelers. But I think this can very much apply in Egypt also, right? Connecting with a local applies to Egypt as much as applies to Mumbai.
Another very interesting market which I want to do is the foreigners or the international market coming to India. That's a big market, which we are really planning to tap that as well, because Atithi Devo Bhava is like completely fits with our philosophy.
That's what the local influencers do, right? And we have had multiple examples. And can I give one example here, which is not related to the incoming traveler, but one story which is very powerful. There was a girl, who one of the travel buddy users, she lost her phone, her bag, everything in the train while coming from Rameshwaram.
Wow.
She was coming to Bangalore. Actually, she had to go to Chandigarh. She spoke to another co-passenger, took that person's phone, downloaded Travel Buddy.
My God.
And she
connected. Found Travel Buddy by downloading.
She knew about Travel Buddy.
She's a user of.
She's a user of Travel Buddy. She's an existing user. She connected with the Bangalore local influencer.
My God.
Okay, and this Bangalore local influencer, along with a couple of other local influencers who are verified by us, came to the station, met her, took her to the police station, wrote the complaint, gave her money to go back to Chandigarh.
My God.
So we are a real life social platform. We are not just a platform where you are sitting and just scrolling, and hitting dopamine. Instead of that, you are connecting online and meeting offline. And that has tremendous amount of benefits. We have had people who tell us about the dangers and all of that also, but there are also so many benefits that you can see.
As long as I think you can manage the trust and safety through technology, I think it's a great I think it's a great story that like a user was able to find their belongings through the app itself.
And we also, I think they are not here in this podcast, but I must mention the tech team, Ranjit, who's the head of engineering. I mean, we have AWS detection algorithms where you can't put a objectionable photograph, which standard that is there. And that's really complex. Both of us are non-tech people, right? So they are the unsung heroes also. They're doing some great work there at Travel Buddy.
For sure. And like in terms of competition, like I think you mentioned that कि हम लोग हैं जो community first कर रहे हैं, but अगर if you have to give me example of a couple of companies in India or maybe a few companies globally which have become very, very large, right? So like, what would it?
Yeah, so I think, see, I've been in the travel industry for a very long time, and I think travel is full of large players. Let's first establish that. If you look in India also, if you look at outside, I think we inspire for a Get Your Guide. Get Your Guide is the best. It's a $1.2 billion valuation company. We inspire more by Get Your Guide than in Airbnb experiences. I think if you look at it, because travel has such large players, what we are doing, we believe we are a disruptor. We are disrupting because standard, if you look at Get Your Guide, Viator, Klook, or even a Make My Trip, they are standard marketplaces. They are marketplaces where you
community-led koi nahi hai.
Community-led koi nahi hai. So community-led hai, you have the couchsurfing and all that, which is, but they are not marketplaces. They are communities where people are coming and connecting and hosting and all of that.
Communities ke baad group experience and group tours, I think there's nobody.
So what I mean here is that we hope and believe that we will complement the large players and hopefully partner with them strategically in the future. Because we don't really see them doing what we are doing.
Got it. I think one interesting question is, like when you're doing community to experiences, right? So, abhi like 4 million community, which is kind of doing about 500 experiences, like trips per month. That's the run rate, right? So, how do you see that scaling? And because that's where you make the most amount of money, right? Like that's the monetization aspect of it. And that's a big problem where you're helping travelers solve, and save money through experiences. So, like what are some things that you guys are doing to kind of improve that bottom of the funnel?
See, obviously, first of all, by dissolving the problem statement. So if you have all, right now, hopefully we have established that the problem statement is that the budget.
Correct,
we are a very, very budget conscious country. So how come, that is something, I believe, if we are able to solve the problem in the first place, then definitely, the bottom funnel will automatically start increasing. So that's what we are trying to do. So we personally, at least this is my personal opinion, that, discounts are not exactly, should be given like, left, right, and center, because that's a sugar rush, which will, go away today or tomorrow. So rather than, we will keep on focusing on the problem statement. We will keep on focusing on the fact that how can I help the traveler reduce its costs by giving them such kind of a trips which is not there in the market. And secondly, which you can take it together and lower your costs. So that is how I believe that we have already we have seen like we are growing in terms of numbers. So if just think about it, from 2%, if we are able to get it to the 10%, so automatically our lower funnel is going
and
to
also
increase.
It's been just 6 months that we have started the marketplace, which was always the plan. You build a critical mass, and if you look at all the social media platforms, and even if you look at Facebook, for example, the first 7 or 8 years they build their critical mass and then build their ads on the feed, right?
And what do you think, like the community, how big can it become?
Oh, I think sky's the limit, because honestly, right now we are just talking India. Like I started with India. I didn't even. Oh, there's another very interesting story here. When we started Travel Buddy before COVID, 6 months before we started our MVP, right? Today we have 80% of the users from India. You won't believe that 80% of the users were from outside India when we started. COVID changed it all. See, I mean, it was very hard for us. And we almost like died 3-4 times during COVID. Right?
Like, I think during COVID, Zoom was the most profitable stock, and British Airways was the most loss-making stock, and like it's the other way around.
Travelers had dropped by
80% profit last year quarter, and Zoom.
So travelers had dropped by 80%, and revenue dropped by 80%. In fact, we built something which was called as, I remember now, essential travel. And that was a very interesting thing. We said essential travel, like because people were doing essential travel, right? And that's where Travel Buddy can help, because a local influencer can tell you kaun se part of the Manali mein COVID prevalent nahi hai. So we have done all of that also.
Got it. And what's your, like investors talk about this question of moat, right? So like, so like the idea is very unique, right? Like you've built a large community, like you're focusing on technology as well, right? But like, what do you think is the biggest defensibility that you have in your business that, makes you stand apart, from the competition today?
Clearly, I think, and I think you can also echo, I think clearly it's the community. Clearly, because I think everything else is replicable very fast. But building a community
and
is
having
not
them engaged.
Exactly.
Even like having 3,000 influencers. There have been cases where there have been let's say an irate some issue has happened, because in a platform issues can also happen, and we have our tech ways and our own manual ways where our influencers have defended us. So then we know Saurav Paromita, we know XYZ user. I think community is the biggest strength, and if that was not the case, then even the larger players know about Travel Buddy, and we have been in the market for 2 years. By now, they would have started, doing a community. I think that's the moat, and then the using the technology to, enable the solution is the, another big idea.
If I have to talk about our moat, I think I'll go with our tagline: "Never feel alone," because that's how we wanted us to be perceived. Because we want the travelers not to feel alone. So that they can build a community. They don't have to feel alone when they are in the new city. Okay, coming back to one very interesting, I just remember I have to tell you. So a girl called Nirima, she went to Jamshedpur. She have shifted from, I believe, Kolkata, and then after a couple of months, she have just written to us telling us that thank you, Travel Buddy, because I was all alone in the city and I connected with
local influencer.
Yes, and local influencer travelers from there. I did a meetup and people have came, and now I feel very comfortable in the new city. And I feel that this is what we want to build, that you don't feel alone when you're in the new city. So I believe this is the need of the hour.
We will need much more time if you have to tell you the examples. There are so many examples.
And very beautiful examples.
And I think you guys are very conservative. When you talk about your moats, like after having known you and spoken for you for so long, right? I feel that in terms of growth as well, right? 4 million community through ASO, those hacks in terms of digital, how to acquire those users, finding that product is also I think it's a big moat that you've been able to establish. And maybe you can share a couple of insights as well, how do you do your ASO so well, what are the things that work for you, because I think that's a big
we have done it's hard work in terms of
by our own hands.
By our own hands.
So we've never had an agency.
No,
Parumita has done that. My background is that of digital marketing for more than 17-18 years. We've used, when we had done paid marketing, we looked at paid marketing
numbers
organic versus paid का हमने पूरा ratio देखा. We have an MIS that we build by ourselves and we track numbers daily. It's a lot of looking at it by yourself and figuring out what's working.
And it is very groundwork, which we have, which we are still doing, and we will believe in it. We don't believe in shortcuts. We believe that there are no free lunches. We wanted to have that kind of a culture as well. And all our team, us as well as team members, we want to get our hands dirty. And that's how we have reached.
One best example of that would be if you type the travel keyword. Not
you
Travel
own
Buddy.
The category, that's what I was saying.
Not Travel Buddy, just the travel keyword on Play Store. We are on the first 10 results.
So if there's an SEO and growth hacking masterclass, I know who to come to. So and I think that's one of the biggest moats, owning that word and owning that category, and actually building that massive top of funnel, and then essentially using technology to then enable that bottom of the funnel.
And we have not just the user data in terms of visits, we have a very deep data. We have the gender, the age, the behavior, the interest, which is really something that we can use in terms of in the future to enable personalized results to them.
I think another very interesting thing that we were talking about offline and you guys are now thinking of doing is, so you have the community, you're doing group experiences, but then there is also another play of a lot of D2C brands in the travel space, right? You've seen Mokobora, National Miles, Assembly, right? And it's not just luggage, right? Accessories, sunglasses, t-shirts, fashion, brands focused around travel experiences for customers, right?
Absolutely.
And जो वो community है 4 million travelers की, right? Those are the people who are buying, buying those D2C brands.
Right.
But आज की date में, you can think of a Nykaa for beauty, you can think of a Myntra for fashion. But you don't think anything, you don't get anything in mind for travel.
It's almost as if you kind of read our minds because we are working on a shop section. And by the way, that also happened organically where people kept asking us.
ये product मिल सकता है.
People said कि t-shirt है क्या Travel Buddy का? Merchandise है हमारा. So they said कि we want to buy. We had this person writing from Coimbatore, I want 10 a Travel Buddy mugs. And we were like, okay, fine, interesting. So obviously now we are building a shop section. We realize that there are a lot of travel accessories, and why not go and partner with D2C brands, because the margins also are very, very high there.
And in terms of your margins, when you have a lot of local influencers, and also can you just take us through the margin structure as well? So essentially, when you say that we have a group experiences for 3,000 rupees, 3,500 rupees, then essentially how much goes to the suppliers and how much goes to the travel influencer, and eventually how much does Travel Buddy make, and how do you plan on increasing that as you?
Correct. So that's it's a little technical, but I'll tell you in a little detail. So see, typically in travel the margins are low. We all know that, and that's a challenge. So typically, if you look at our business, the three revenue models that we have, there are three of them. The first obviously is the volume driver, which is the experiences and trips. But we have to understand that the margins there are quite low. And when you start as a new marketplace, the problems are even more. Because the supplier wants to, kind of...
Correct. It's a chicken and egg.
It's a chicken and egg story, right? Do I get that person on my platform? If I get, then, I'll have to work at a 10%, commission. So the next revenue model that we have is subscription. We have an in-app purchase and subscription where you use the app to get the various features of the concierge service and all of that. Subscription has an 85% margin because Google and Apple Play Store is cutting only 15% there. And then the third part that is there is the D2C part that we mentioned.
Where again, that's where your margins
very high margins. So if you take a blended of all these three, the goal is to go to at least a 40 or 50% kind of a margin.
Got it.
Very soon. I'm not talking next year and all of that. So we have something called as Travel Buddy Concierge, which is going to be available on the app. This is more like, if Karan wants to travel 5 times in a year, he doesn't have to worry about itinerary. He doesn't have to worry about a local. Everything will be provided by us. You just have to say, Saurav, I'm going to Kashmir. Can you provide me that local support? Can you make an itinerary for me? Everything will be done. We have a revenue share with the local influencer.
Got it.
So otherwise travel, otherwise just marketplace, you'll have to really struggle hard to bring your margins up.
Got it. Thank you so much, Saurav and Paromita. Thank you for your time on the podcast. I can't let you go, without having a small feedback on ACLR8. You're part of our first Summer 24 program, and even though the cohort has just started, like, what's been your experience so far, and where do you think we can offer the most value to Travel Buddy?
So I think honestly it is not because we are part of the cohort, but I am blown away. I have been in the startup ecosystem now for 3 years. The quality that is coming to the table, and also along with that the personalization. If we look at it, that is really impressive. Most importantly is we are having much more human connection when we are talking to you or talking to Apoorv or talking to anybody. I'm feeling very excited, and I think that this is something very different. I think you are building something forget just Travel Buddy. I think you are building something very unique, and I'm very glad to be part of it.
Amazing.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I love the warmth of it. I mean, it doesn't sound very like, corporate-ish or professional. And I believe, the synergies which is coming, the vibes, and it is a collaborative effort. It is very much collaborative. Whatever, feedback I'll be given, it is more like a collaborative. It's a leadership which has been done. And I'm really looking forward to it, because I know that, it gives a very positivity that we can do it. And, rather than, telling this to, whether it's wrong, whether it's right, we are being told, how can you improve? And that is what we,
and I think I completely agree. Like, as investors, I don't think we are in the business of running your business, right? So, maybe we can have a macro view, which sometimes founders miss on when they are like neck deep into their business, right? But essentially, like, you guys are executing, we are, like, I think I was using this term with Saurav as well, knowledge, empathy, network, the Ken support, right? So we are that support for you. And I think, thank you for you guys, for choosing ACLR8 as a part of your growth journey. We are very excited, very excited by the size of the market, the size of the opportunity, what you guys are building, and what you guys have achieved in a very short span of time. Right, so
thank you for
I think as you mentioned, Travel Buddy never feel alone. So we would love for Travel Buddy to become the #1 community-powered travel experiences marketplace in the country. And very excited to partner with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Karan.
Thank you.
Thank you.